Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 strongest tier 8 premium tanks in World of Tanks Blitz. And I'm making this list based off of more or less stats and the amount of players that actually play tanks or play these tanks, which is why more or less this video is going to be sort of accurate. Of course, everyone has their own playstyle, and if your favorite tank wasn't here, don't get too upset. And with that, let's just start the video. At number 5, I'm going to be placing 2 tanks at the same time. That is going to be the Skoda T56 and the Object 252U. Both of these tanks are quite similar in their characteristics. It's just that one is Czechoslovakian and the other one is going to be Soviet. Now, why are these tanks similar? That's simply because both of them have very good alpha, so 420 and 450 respectively. And of course, the armor is going to be very, very good on both of these tanks, which means that the survivability is going to be quite high. And if a tank has good armor, especially all around, like both of these tanks have good armor on the hull, on the turret and the sides, with the only exception being the lower plate for both tanks, I would say that this tank is suitable for newer players or more or less inexperienced players. Why? Because more or less newer players are going to rely a lot more on armor. For example, you wouldn't want to send a newbie into battle in an AMX 50B. They just simply will die. The same scenario goes here. The more armored a tank is, the more suitable it is for more or less newer players. And that is why I would recommend both of these tanks, especially because they do have some solid alpha, with the only downside being that the weapon handling is not amazing and the mobility is decent enough, but still not the best. So overall, you have some good trade-offs here and there, but overall, 2 solid tanks for more or less newer players or inexperienced players. Again, very, very good stats on both of these tanks. At number 4, we have the T54E2. This is an American tier 8 heavy tank. Again, the stats for this tank in the game are very, very exceptional because, again, the DPM is 2.3k, close to 2.3k. You have some very good weapon handling. You have some very good mobility for a heavy tank, 40 kilometers forward. And you have some decent armor. Like the turret armor is going to be very, very good. And the hull armor is also quite decent. The turret armor is solid. And coupled with 10 degrees of gun depression, this tank is amazing at ridge lines. You can already see the contrast in the playstyle between this tank and the Object 252U and the Skoda T56, for example. The playstyle is going to be very, very, very much different and suited for completely different players. So if you're that hull down type of guy, I would definitely recommend the T54E2. At number 3, we have the Batchat Borasik, and this is a tier 8 French medium tank. Initially, when it came out, I really thought that this would be a light tank, but then again, it is a medium. This tank's DPM is probably not the best. However, this tank has some decent alpha at 320 with 2 shells in the mag, and the interclip is 2 seconds. So think about it. In pretty much 2 seconds, this tank does 640 alpha, and of course, the speed / mobility is 60 kilometers forward. 60. With some pretty decent weapon handling and an interclip like that, coupled with the mobility, this tank can just fly around the map, see an enemy, smack 2 shots into the side of it, and then run away. Again, you can see how fun and interesting the gameplay is going to be in this tank, but then again, you come at a cost, you have no armor, and of course the penetration is not amazing, only at 200. It's playable, but it's still not the best. It basically has no armor, so anyone will be able to penetrate you wherever they want. But then again, you have 60 kilometers forward, you can fly around the map, you can find an isolated tank and pretty much just smack him up and run away and find the next enemy you want to put 2 shells into. Super simple gameplay, and I think this gameplay, again, is a lot harder compared to the previous 3 tanks I mentioned. That's why the skill gap is going to be a little bit different compared to the other tanks. But then again, superb tank for its tier. At number 2, I'm going to be placing the T-77. So this is basically a T-57 heavy at tier 8, but pretty much buffed up. This tank is very, very good at almost everything it does. The weapon handling is pretty decent. The mobility is also decent, similar to that of the T-57. But the main attribute of this tank is going to be its armor coupled with its gun, because this tank has, again, a drum with 2 shots with a 2.5 second interclip in both of them. With a 2.5 second interclip in it with 380 alpha. So pretty much you're going to be doing almost 800 damage in just 2.5 seconds, and then you can pull back. Very, very simple gameplay coupled with good armor is just going to be smashing enemies left and right. On top of that, you have 10 degrees of gun depression, which allow for this tank to go onto ridge lines and pretty much absolutely destroy a lot of tanks. The only drawback, the main drawback I would say, is the very long reload time at almost 20 seconds. And if you're caught up reloading in that time frame, you're pretty much going to be screwed by a lot of tanks. But if you have a lot of support around you, that shouldn't be a problem. I would definitely recommend this tank for a lot of players as well. And at number 1, we have the Chimera, the tier 8 British medium tank. This tank is superb at pretty much everything. The weapon handling is amazing. The mobility is 50 kilometers forward. Again, amazing, 20 kilometers backward. The DPM is probably not the best, but still, you have 440 alpha with a medium tank. Insane. The reload time is 13 seconds. Just coupled with everything, the armor, the mobility, the weapon handling, everything about this tank is superb. And it just doesn't fail you at all. This tank is very, very good at playing peekaboos. You can peekaboo heavy tanks. Pretty much you come around a corner, smack a heavy tank in the face, and you're still going to be doing more damage than them. Very, very good tank. And this tank is suitable for everyone. If you're a beginner, if you're inexperienced, even if you're a veteran tank player, you should definitely get the Chimera because this tank slaps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. Happy is out. Bye-bye.